today's video, I'm going to be showing y'all how to do polish application, gel polish specifically. This is one of the things that is within your skill you're going to have to master. It's two things. First thing I'm going to say is not every gel polish brand or even color is going to apply the same. So it really comes down to the technique. The one I'm using is the Madam Glam Perfect Black. When it comes to application, your first layer, no matter what brand, is going to be your thinnest layer. Sometimes you have to go in with 3 or even 4 coats of polish, depending on the color and how opaque it is. So you want, in between those cures, you want your layers to be thin so that they can cure properly. That way you won't have moisture trapped underneath the gel. This first layer is going to be thin. It has nothing to do with me trying to get the pigment on there. It's more or less just a foundation and me laying down the first initial color, and also trying not to get too close to the side walls and my cuticles. Not every bottle applicator is the same, so you will have to keep that in mind. But when I go in and initially open my bottle, I'm wiping down a lot of the product before I even go in to put it on the nail plate. I do this because you have to keep in mind the polish is going to run down from whatever is inside of the bottle cap. That is also going to trickle down onto your applicator. And more or less, that is why I'm wiping a lot of the polish off of the applicator, and I'm really waiting for the letdown of what is already in the bottle and keeping that in mind. After I done my first initial layer, I'm going in with the second layer. You're going to see me do here, it's going to be way too thin of an application. It's going to be hardly any polish when I go to swipe. So now I'm going to go in and grab a little dollop. You see the bubble on the end of my brush? That is what I'm going to be using to apply. And when you start to see lines in your polish application, that is because there's way too much polish on the end of the applicator. But you also can, once you get more acclimated, you will be able to move that around and won't have to dip back into your bottle. So it's going to be a really fine balance, using the corner here of my brush to get around that cuticle and make a nice curve. The biggest part of the application is the illusion of a very crisp line. It's essentially drawing. You're drawing right at the cuticle, you're drawing right along the sides of the sidewall to make the illusion that the polish is all one length, not length, but all one line, I would rather say. And I am the person that just uses my other fingernail to scrape off any excess. You can also use a fine tip brush with a little bit of acetone on the brush to help get any spillage that you have gotten from your application. So once again, I'm just going in here. You see, I'm creating the illusion of a line. When I also go into apply, you don't want to get into a habit of taking the polish exactly where you need to be placing it. You want to place a small fraction over. When you press down on your brush is going to expand, and that is what you use to draw your line. That's what you just saw me do here. So now I'm going to go in with my cuticle, and I push back a little. I'm going in and crisping up my line. Now I'm going to be moving on to my thumb. You're going to see here how I start my line. I do a little bit further away. I push my brush and I let the polish spill over until where I need it to. I don't go right up until where I'm looking to polish. I polished the whole nail plate. This is my first layer, so I'm just getting the color on there and initiating my line on my sidewalls. That's what you see me doing here. This motion of using the corner of the applicator to go along the cuticle and the sidewall has helped me tremendously in learning how to create that line to make it look like a very uniform polish application. That corner of the brush scraping along really helps and makes all the difference within the application. Another tip, moving that gel polish away from the nail lamp when you're ready to cure is going to save you having to replace your bottles because if your bottle is open, it is going to cure your polish and it's going to ruin essentially your bottle. My second layer of gel polish is also going to be very thin. With Madame Glam, I do know that they have a very thick formula. So if I'm going in with globs and globs of layers, it's not going to cure properly, and I'm essentially going to have problems with it adhering like underneath each layer that I place. So thin layers with the Madame Glam are really helpful as to keeping the application, for one, not making it bulky and losing my shape, but along with having just a proper gel polish application. The D&D No Cleanser Top Gel is probably my top 5 top coats. When I get to this step, it's two things I used to always remember at the nail shop. I'm like, damn, like, why do they always seem to be stingy with the top coat and the cuticle oil? And there's a rhyme and there's a reason for everything. It is because with the top coat, you don't want it spilling over into your cuticles and your side rolls, ruining your polish application. And for the cuticle oil, it's because too much cuticle oil, as soon as you're done with the service, it'll get on top of the polish and it'll just make it look super murky. That's essentially why they did that though. And another small tip of advice is if you feel like you're losing your shaping of your acrylic or of your manicure after you've done polishing and doing all this good stuff, it's because it's too thick. The thinnest application is the biggest thing you should take from this video. The thin application will help you keep your shape and will also not make the nail look over polished. When I say over polished, I mean flooding of the cuticle, flooding of the side walls, and things of that nature. Keeping your application thin is going to be the best thing for a satisfied customer and good work. For me, this is the finished product of a gel polish application, start to finish. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.